Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's your girl Shay Investigates, and we are back with another one. So today we're going to be doing a 2-for-1. We're going to be doing Wendy Williams and Shirley Strawberry. How these two amazing radio personalities kind of sort of married the same guy, a cheater, a user, an abuser, and then they take everything you have and they take you down, whether it's financially or mentally. I want to know, how do these two educated women, both born in the month of July, go from riches to kind of sort of really rags? I mean, Wendy Wendy can't even spend her own money, and Shirley Strawberry has no money to spend. All thanks to what? What is it, that thing that makes these women stand out for these men to find them? What is it? How do you go from being, well, Wendy's, I can't say Wendy's like a C D list celebrity. Wendy was like a B list celebrity. And why I can't say A, because she's not really an actress, and during her time it was really actors and actresses that really held the light, the shine, the gleam, all those different things. And she was just a radio personality that talk a whole slew of shit. And people come and be like, "Oh, you talk so much." Da, 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 da." Well, in comparison to Wendy, I'm like a saint, honestly. I really tell the truth. Wendy just would say anything that came to mind. So that is how Wendy is. Then you have the other side of that, who's very docile, meager, seems kind of weak, and doesn't really say much but what it seems like a man tells her to say. And I just don't understand that. And people like, "Well, you don't understand the industry." That's not true. That's not true. My undergrad is in film and my master's in entertainment business. I worked in the industry. Now, I'm a little different because in order to work in the industry, you got to have a lot of fight in you. And my fight mostly was used when I was in the army and I was tired of fighting. So I really didn't want to be in a career where I needed to put on my boots and lace up and be ready to go at it with people and speak my piece. That I felt like that journey has passed and I didn't want to do that no more. So I didn't do it no more. So I was in the industry. I can't say I had fun in it. And then I'm dabbing my foot back in the water, had some therapy, maybe a little of the fight can come back and I could do my damn thing. But it's no easy task to get to where they were. And kind of sort of to me, it feels like Shirley Strawberry kind of reached her peak. And Wendy, she was like soaring in the fucking stars and going to a different universe type of thing. It was Wendy and no one was touching her. I mean, so they are similar but different, like an isosceles triangle out here. Wendy Williams comes from a two-parent household. She was born on July 18th, 1964 in Auberry Park, New Jersey. She is the middle child. And between her parents, they have 3 master's degrees, all in education, which is very interesting. You would think the way Wendy comes off the cuff that, like, she didn't grow up in a two-parent household, probably medium income, especially with during that time, 3 master's degrees, I'm sorry, y'all, during the 70s, because she was born in 1964. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say her parents got it a little bit after she was born. That's really unprecedented, especially for that time, because you also have to remember in the United States, like less than 1% of people have a master's degree. I mean, it's slowly climbing. So that's like a real big thing. It's no small task for them to have that between each other. That's amazing. I definitely want to say Wendy Williams and Shirley Strawberry kind of sort of sound alike in their dictation of how they pronounce words as well. At the age of 16, Wendy was offered a full ride to her choice of university. Come to find out, Wendy Williams didn't even like hip hop music initially. She liked AC/DC, Journey, Pink Floyd. And if you don't know who those bands are, they're rock legends, just so you know. Wendy would go to Northwestern University in Boston, Massachusetts. Her initial intent was to become a television anchor. Less than a month after starting, she switched over to radio so that she can have an upward trajectory faster. To appease her parents, she would get a minor in journalism, which is very interesting. So I guess I see how she was able to cover hot topics and keep it funny and keep it radio style on the Wendy Williams show. That makes total sense. And but what gets me is how was Wendy Williams how was Wendy Williams able to move forward and Shirley Strawberry wasn't? I mean, Shirley Strawberry had a good, I don't know, what, 15 years on Wendy Williams. And Wendy Williams was in one of the toughest markets. So if you don't know about the different markets around the country, it's pretty tough, whether it's radio or television. I would say television is way harder to like get people to notice you. Some of the bigger markets are, of course, Chicago, New York, Miami, LA, Denver. These are like mainstream places. Atlanta, that it is very hard if you are a nobody to become a somebody. As we know, Shirley Strawberry started out in Chicago. Like a lot of people who do radio started out in Chicago. Tom Jordan started out in Chicago. Of course, to me, he is like a radio god. And this is one of the reasons why I do the little known Black History fact. It's because of every morning I would listen to Tom Joyner in the morning show. Be like, oh, it's the Tom Joyner morning show. Making it in Chicago is like a springboard to other places. Oprah started out in Chicago. I mean, it's a lot of different people that started out in Chicago that have made it. Bernie Mac started out in Chicago. There's so many different countless celebrities that have made it out of Chicago or started in Chicago and moved to LA or New York, etc., etc., etc. But Shirley wasn't really on that list of making it out. And I don't know if it's because she didn't have a father figure or what have you. I've watched different interviews where Shirley talked about how her mom was a single mom and how her father wasn't around and how she didn't have um, self esteem until Steve Harvey, which is crazy because she didn't meet Steve Harvey until she was an older woman. So I definitely can see how Ernest Williams or her first husband could creep in there and pull a Shirley Strawberry. You're like, how did it happen? Let's go off of what she said. She had low self esteem. There's no unequivocal aspects of that. The woman has said that in the interview. She had low self esteem until Steve Harvey. I'm not making this up. I mean, you can go out there and find interviews on YouTube. It's not that hard to find. I've never heard Wendy Williams say that. If anything, I would go off of maybe Wendy had too much of an ego, too much of I know I'm the shit. And that led to her untimely, I can't really say downfall, but her untimely use of drugs and drinking and all those other things that go to someone who becomes an addict for whatever reason. But somehow we still find these two women. They're great, accomplished women. We find them divorced or about to be divorced or never really married, however you want to quantify it. And they are they suffer to the hands of men. Men were really their downfall. Wendy Williams could have gone on to probably being daytime's queen and for another 15 years. The ratings were always great for her. She never faltered in that time slot. I mean, I still don't think anyone has filled her shoes to the ability and capability that she did. And I mean, no disrespect to Sherry Shepherd. Sherry has her own thing. Sherry is a comedian, but the queen of controversy is will always and forever be Wendy Williams. If you have not listened to Wendy Williams' radio show and her antics that she did, I mean, there's some clips out there with her and Charlemagne, but she is it. She is the person that gets underneath your skin by just saying the most outlandish things. She toned it down a lot for television, I could tell you that. Because I watched her show from the past. People had clips and stuff. Oh my God. It is crazy. Crazy bonkers. But it's good for radio. It's good for television. It's good all around. She knew what she was doing and she knew how to do it very well. But when we look on the off cuff of that, Shirley Strawberry did not. And this is not a condemnation on her. It's just contrasting, but they both seem to find themselves in the same place. One who is the pinnacle of, probably it would be hard for someone to come back and do what Wendy did. And someone would say, well, what Oprah did it. Well, Oprah had a different way of doing things. And Wendy was Wendy. And Shirley is Shirley, I guess. I don't know. I definitely have to say that also in the background of Wendy Williams is that she stated that she was ARD when she was in college. And that probably could be the reason why she did drugs so heavily and why she drank alcohol. And maybe to her, Kevin or Kelvin, however you want to pronounce it, but it's really his real government name is Kelvin. How Kevin was her sounding board, her springboard. He gave her that stability that she felt like she needed, or protection. And when she found out about Sharina being pregnant, all that fell down, kind of sort of like dominoes, or if you're playing Jenga. I think that could be a huge reason of why we see Wendy how she is now in comparison to how she was prior, when Kevin was her manager, when Kevin did all the day-to-day things that she probably couldn't handle on her own. And now we see a shell of who Wendy Williams is. I'm going to say this. We are strong women. We don't need a man to be our grounding system. We need to ground ourselves. We need to be able to find our own place in how we interact in this world. Life can be challenging, especially if you don't know how to stand 10 toes down on your own after something traumatic happens to you. And I'm speaking from experience. I've had traumatic things happen to me in the military. Not great things, but I got therapy and I was able to rebound. And I did all this with no parents, no help. I had to find my own goddamn way. So this is just a case study, part one of it, because we still need to do Shirley Strawberry case study. There's a lot that I found on Shirley Strawberry as well. And it's just, it's not to the magnitude of Wendy Williams. And because Wendy Williams, you have to remember, she grew up in a 2-parent household. Shirley Strawberry didn't. This is why it's a good compare and contrast. 2 women in the same field doing the same thing. Well, Shirley hasn't been on TV. So, I mean, if someone could argue, well, she made guest appearances on the Steve Harvey show or whatever. But having her own network syndicated show just about her, she hasn't done that. And she probably will never do that, because not because she's incapable, because at the age that she's at. That's why I'm saying that. So, but we can get into that a little later in the next video. But go ahead and put your comments down and hit the like button, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Remember, put it in the comments.